This word may look like it spells false to you. A closer look shows that it can also be true. What appears to be one thing, like this carving of a duck, might really be another. Like a carving of a rabbit. It's all a matter of perception. We've all heard the riddle of the half-filled glass. Is the glass that holds this drink half full, or is it half empty? Or maybe it really isn't a drink at all. A glass jar that has never been cut in any way, and shoes that can't possibly fit through the opening. Impossible, yet here it is. 2 tables. The one on the left is obviously longer and thinner than the one on the right. But let's put this tablecloth on top of the right one. Fits perfectly. The 2 tables are exactly the same size. What makes them appear different is your perception. This is a Chinese bronze mirror. Its origins go back to before the time of Christ. One side is a polished mirror, the other side a detailed design. But when you shine it on a surface, the image on the backside is projected through the mirror. Now, how could things like this happen? The reflection of strange truth.
This drawing has been baffling people for nearly a century. Some of us see it as a fashionable young lady, and some of us see it as the portrait of an old woman. So which is it? Young or old, or is it both?
This is an expression we've seen countless times. You probably think it says, "I love Paris in the springtime." That's only what our eyes tell us. Let's read it one more time, word for word. Notice the extra "the." Once again, we have been fooled by our own perception.
What you see is not always what you get. Take this line drawing of a man in profile. Is this an honest man? The answer is written across his face. Perception is our most unreliable sense because it can be changed so instantly. Take these letters. When read straight across, they're the first 3 of the alphabet. But now watch what happens to the B when we add 2 numbers and ask you to read straight down. We've now changed the symbol from a B to the number 13.
Sometimes to see the truth, we have to look at things from another angle. Take this portrait of a single clown. When viewed from a different perspective, it becomes an entire circus. Follow the clown as he turns the corner. In this drawing, is it the profile of a couple about to kiss? Take another look. It's a candle lighting the darkness. The profile of falsehood can often obscure the glow of truth. What makes something true and what makes it false? It's often difficult to tell. Each week, we explore the ambiguity of truth. The dictionary defines ambiguity as open to multiple interpretation. And even when you factor in all of those various possibilities and look at it from all angles, it's still the same. Ambiguity. When we attempt to separate reality and illusion, it's best not to trust our senses. For example, this drawing. Our eyes tell us that the line in the lower segment is definitely longer than the line in the upper one, but let's look at the truth. They're exactly the same length. Be forewarned, in order to tell the difference between reality and illusion, you have to read between the lines. The truth often lies in the way you view it. We've all heard the question of whether the glass is half full or half empty, but take this cake on a plate. Is there only one slice taken out? When viewed from the opposite side, there's only one slice left. You can have your cake and eat it, too. What is truly behind the mysteries that animals seem to possess? Take this elephant. Even a simple question like, how many legs does it have, can be difficult to answer. There's nothing about them you can count on. Some people look at this drawing and see a high mountain safe from harm, while others see a tunnel spiraling down into an endless abyss. take your perspective from the mountaintop, and at all costs, avoid having tunnel vision.
Truth can be an elusive thing. In this illustration, there are actually two cubes, but we see only one. Our eyes will not permit us to see both boxes at once, yet the truth is they both exist. When you attempt to determine the truth, keep an open mind and don't box yourself in. There are many people who look at this picture and see the outline of a Native American chieftain. There are the feathers of the headdress. But yet gaze a little longer and you may see something else. An Eskimo figure in a snowstorm. This is his outline. Both images exist, yet you can't see them both at once. Be mindful that what seems to be the face of truth may turn out to be a snow job. Is the truth always easy to see? Take this picture. Viewed from this angle, it appears to be a dramatic seascape. However, take this vase, place it on the picture, and observe. The clear reflection of a man with a beard. It happens to be the face of legendary science fiction writer Jules Verne, a man who knew well the blurry line between fact and fantasy. Sometimes you have to check things out from all angles to understand the big picture. Take these photos. They appear to be snapshots of nature, animal and plant life, all of various species and families. Let's take a step back to view the big picture. Now you can see a truly endangered species, the television host, dependent for survival upon the Nielsen family. Can we really trust our own eyes? Observe these two painted figures. The one on the right obviously looks bigger than the one on the left. But let's switch positions. Now, which one seems bigger? The truth is, they're exactly the same size. The truth is often difficult to recognize. Take this illusion. Hidden among this confusion of lines is the outline of a bird, yet it's impossible to see. But by simply sliding this glass plate, our bird begins to fly before our eyes. Be on the alert, and you may capture truth in flight. All you have to do is look between the lines. A curious illusion. To the naked eye, this appears to be a perfect triangle. Yet here's the truth. A disconnected shape. The two sides separated by a significant space. Judge carefully, because as always, there are two sides to every story. Or in some cases, there might be three. A simple white vase set against a simple black background. But is it really so simple? Focus your attention on the black area that outlines the vase. What you see now appears to be two faces in profile. The nose, the mouth, the chin. And it's still a white vase with a black background. But now let's add to the illusion by spinning the vase. Now it appears that our two faces are talking to each other. Truth and illusion existing together at the same time. What is fact and what is fiction? It all depends on your point of view. Take a close look at this sphere. It's obviously a solid globe that we're looking at from the outside in. But now, let's take an even closer look. It now appears that we're inside the bowl looking out. We've done no tricks with the sphere. We've simply changed our point of view. This frame contains a three-dimensional sculpture of the face of Albert Einstein. By moving the frame, the sculpture moves too. We see both the left and right sides of Einstein's face. You can even move it up or down. But here's the surprising truth. There is no sculpture on this side. In fact, the space where the face appears is concave. The real face of Einstein is actually on the other side. Perception is something that can often change right before our very eyes. Here's an example. A contoured sheet with obvious valleys and peaks. But when we take another look, we see that it's perfectly flat. So, what's the reality? It all depends on our perception. What you may perceive as plateaus of truth may actually be mountains of deception.
Sometimes it's difficult to label things accurately. Take this display of an object that is shaped like a mouse. Yet, when you rotate it, it evolves into a cat. So which is it really? As opposite as the mouse is from its mortal enemy, the cat, so is the truth opposite from a lie. Truth and illusion often blend together. The examples are all around us. For instance, this structure. Some might call it a box, others a square, still others a cube. But what is the reality? A mass of confusion. Sometimes reality and illusion live side by side. But to understand the difference, you must examine all sides. Take this globe, a perfect symmetrical form. But when we check more closely, the truth is revealed. Remember to check out every angle before you judge. You may be getting only half the story. Observe a perfectly shaped square. We said it's spinning, and now it's a perfectly shaped spinning square. But let's change our perspective and see what happens. By carefully blocking out certain parts of the spinning square, it now appears to have a pulsating effect, almost breathing in and out. Of course, it's only an illusion. For what seems to be pulsating with lies may just be truth with a spin on it. We've all seen paintings that seem to follow us as we move around the room. But what do you make of a painting that changes as we move around it? This is a picture of a cityscape. Look at it straight on, and you see the fronts of the building. But move around it, and the sides of the building come into view. How is this possible? The ingenious artist painted this picture on a canvas with ridges, so as you move, your perspective constantly changes. Can you really believe your eyes? Look at this checkerboard design. Your eyes will tell you that this square is darker than this one. Now, let's take a closer look. As you can see, both squares are exactly the same shade. What might at first seem to be black or white may turn out to be equal shades of gray. What's real and what is illusion? And can we really tell the difference? Observe this still picture of a fire. It contains absolutely no movement at all. Now, I ask you to stare at this spiral. Begin now. Don't close your eyes or turn your head away from the set. Just continue to concentrate on the spinning circle. Or should I say circles within circles within circles. And now, look at our still picture of the fire again. This time there is movement, but you are providing the illusion of movement with your own eyes. Can you really trust your own judgment? For example, observe these two red lines. Which one seems longer to you? Most people would say this one. Here's the truth. They're both exactly the same size. An upside-down portrait of a vaguely familiar face. At first blush, it appears to be a normal photograph viewed from an unusual angle. But let's turn it over. My apologies to any children we just frightened, especially mine. As you can see, the photo is not what we expected. Our eyes processed false information to our brain, and we were tricked. Observe this scale model of an ambulance. It appears to be a detailed, three-dimensional object with depth we can see. But what is it really? As you can see, it has no depth at all. It's a shell. Examine, if you will, two sculptures of different sizes. Obviously, this one is larger than this one. But is it really? Now you can see they're exactly the same size. An interesting lesson in perspective. Take a look at the normal-looking man in the background and the miniature, childlike figure in the foreground. Is it possible they're really the same size? It's not only possible, it's an absolute fact. We've all heard the phrase, 2 heads are better than 1. But does 1 head ever take the place of 2? Take this picture. The only head in sight belongs to former First Lady, Lady Bird Johnson. But whose body does her head belong to? The lady on the left or the one on the right? As you may know, it's a difficult challenge. But we thought you'd appreciate a heads up. Sometimes truth and illusion are one and the same. For example, this simple spiral. It measures precisely 13 inches. Now, watch as I stretch it out. What does it measure now? Exactly the same. The truth is that it only appears to be stretching out. Nothing about its measurements are changing. Truth and illusion side by side. In trying to determine truth, we must examine things from all angles. For example, this sculpture, when viewed head-on, is a simple, clean cube shape. But turn it around to another angle. Look what's revealed. A mass of different shapes and lines that was previously hidden from view. Just like this metal sculpture, while you think you see something clearly, the truth may be hiding just around the corner. You are about to witness an illusion known as the impossible fork. Observe this illustration. At the top, we see the start of a fork with the tines directed downward. Certainly possible. Now, focus on the bottom half of the illustration. Here we see the tines of the fork. Also definitely possible. But viewed together at the same time, we see 2 tines that begin at the top become 3 tines at the bottom. An impossible situation. Keep an open mind, for just when you think you're traveling down the clear pathway of truth, you may encounter an impossible fork in the road. To those of us with a sense of organization, it's a satisfying feeling to see a well-drawn design. Now, look at this checkerboard. The squiggly lines seem to go against everything we expect. It almost looks as though the lines have been drawn freehand. But here's the truth. The lines that appear to be uneven are absolutely straight. The illusion is created by the placement of the small designs within the checkerboard. From a distance, our eyes still lie to us, even though we know the truth. Although we may seem to be telling you the truth, we don't always walk a straight line.